Hello everyone. This is the last aspect of the revolt. Now we study about the consequences of the revolt of 1857. This revolt, though failed and crushed by the superior military forces of the British, was a significant event of far-reaching consequences in the history of British rule in India. It marks the end of an era of mercantile capitalism and early colonial rule and the beginning of the direct imperial hegemony of the British Crown. While in the first century, that is from 1757 to 1857, the British Crown indirectly ruled India. And in the second century, from 1858 to 1947, the British Crown directly ruled India through the viceroy appointed by the monarch. The various results of the revolt may be subdivided as constitutional changes, changes in the army, religious, judicial, and diplomatic effects, and the social effects. Constitutional changes are the most significant result of the mutiny. It was the transfer of power from a trading company to a sovereign power of Britain by the Government of Indian Act of 1858. This Act of 1858 completed the process initiated by the Charter Act of 1853. In the place of the president of the board of control, the secretary of state for India was appointed. The secretary of state of India was assisted and helped by a 15-member body of India council. Out of the 15, 8 were appointed by the crown and the rest were to be appointed by the court of directors. The designation of the governor general of India was changed to viceroy. In case of the rulers of the Indian state, the Crown made a categorical announcement that all the treaties and agreements entered into by the East India Company will be honored and respected, and made it clear that no renewal was necessary. The British Crown gave up the policy of subordinate isolation and advocated a policy of subordinate union in respect of native states. The administrative apparatus in India was centralized effectively due to the improvement in communications. The British Crown reinstalled by talukdars of Awadh to their old positions. They gave up the idea of ruthless expansionist policy of their territorial boundaries in and outside India. Next was the changes in the army. Before the revolt of 1857, the army of the British in India was divided into two major divisions. That was King's forces and Company's troop. As a result of the revolt of two forces were united and called King's forces, and one third of it should consist of the Europeans. The artillery section was exclusively kept under the British. As a consequence of more European soldiers in the army, the expenditure on the army doubled up. The Bengal army was virtually abolished. They reduced the Brahmins from the army and recruited Gorkhas, Sikhs, Jats, and Rajputs of the Punjab. Next was the religionist, judicial, and diplomatic effects. Queen Victoria's proclamation of 1st November 1858 guaranteed freedom of faith and equal treatment to all Indians. The Queen made it clear that there was to be no distinction between one individual and another on the pretext of race, religion, sex, and creed. The British Crown agreed to provide employment to the Indians in the bureaucratic structure of the times, which was dined previously in the sphere of judicial. The Southern Court and Crown's Supreme Court was amalgamated into High Courts, which was established in the presidency towns of Madras, Bombay, and Calcutta. In the sphere of diplomatic ties between India and Britain, now there was a change, and the British began to show greater interest in the internal development of India than in foreign affairs. Last was the social effect. In the sphere of social relations, the gulf between the European and the Indians not only widened but animosity and hatred between the two social groups became marked, and there was definite social estrangement between Indians and Europeans. Detestation, contempt, ferocity, and vigilance became marked features of the British in India in the post mutiny period. Indians too did not lag behind in maintaining social distance. What we noticed in the period was abandonment of social and educational welfare measures by the British purposefully and willingness. As if it is not sufficient, orthodox religious, superstitious, communal caste, and religious discrimination begin to be practiced by the Indians. The British, who were quite aloof in the beginning, realized their mistake and changed their policy with the 1861 Indian Council Act. A very disturbing feature of a post mutiny period in India was the growth of social distance between the Hindus and Muslims, which ultimately led to the communalization of social life and partition of India on communal lines. So, these are the references. Thank you.